up, and welcome back to Opposites Attract Podcast. This is Sonja Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting next to
Miguel Ramirez.
What's up, everybody? How is your day?
How is your week?
How is your life?
Going. And before we get started, make sure you guys go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com, and share with the people that you know. Like we've said before, the best thing that you guys could do to help out the show is to share a clip, let somebody know about the podcast. You know, that word of mouth, spreading of the podcast really helps us out. Leaving a like, a comment, a thumbs up, whatever. That really helps us out as well, too. And subscribe to our new Clips channel, Opposites Attract Podcast Clips on YouTube, which we got a couple more subscribers, but still nowhere near how many we have on the original channel. So, yeah, definitely go and watch, subscribe to that YouTube channel.
Yes,
it helps us out. Nice shirt, babe.
Thanks, babe.
You guys got to watch the podcast. Sonja's not wearing one. Watch on Facebook. Watch on YouTube.
That's
just
a good
kidding.
one.
Just kidding. Just
no,
kidding.
That's good.
She's
just
wearing she's
is.
wearing a white T-shirt. It's wet, so make sure you guys go watch it on Facebook, on YouTube.
The shirt's wet. I'm wet.
It's white. No. Yeah. Go watch.
Why are you starting stuff?
I'm just saying. I just said we need subscribers.
We have a guest on this podcast.
We got Nisi on the podcast.
Yes.
Today.
She is, wow, we've had Nisi for 16, 17 years.
Yeah.
Somewhere around that. And
she's our doggy.
If she could talk, wow.
Our puppy dog. Yeah, the things she's seen.
If she could talk. Could you imagine if your dog could talk?
She could narrate a porno video.
What your dog would say, right?
Yeah.
Like she's been around.
I think most dogs
the kids. Could. Before the kids.
Yeah.
After the kids. No.
Yeah,
she knows a lot.
Yeah.
You know a lot, don't you?
So yeah, babe, we're recording this a little bit later. We've had a busy weekend. We went to a grand opening for our friend Eric Vogt, who's been on the podcast a while back. He's also been on my Fighting for Your Life podcast. And he just opened up a business called Rejuve. We've been talking about it, I think, in the past couple weeks. And yesterday was his grand opening.
A cool dude. Like he is that. Eric is love.
Yeah.
Like he's been supportive. We've talked about this when we started our podcast. He, it's like whatever you need, you let me know. Like I got your back.
Yeah. Yeah, like we've mentioned on here, he supported us since day one.
Yes, and he is that way with those that are in his life, right? Like with Rick.
Yeah.
You know, Rick opened. Well, he's had a jiu-jitsu school for quite some time, but
he had to expand it. Yeah.
Yes, his old facility. So then they opened one up.
A bigger one in the same plaza.
Yep, like side by side.
Yeah, and then the business next door was like a phone store, and it became open. And Eric, they had this idea. Eric and Rick had been talking about opening up like a recovery place because jiu-jitsu you get beat up, and also recovery. Like people are starting to realize all the benefits of cold plunging and saunas and hot tubs and like recovering after you work out. And it's a great idea, especially with jiu-jitsu and combat sports and that type of thing. Like we get banged up more than most other sports or athletes. So you have to have that kind of stuff to kind of keep you going and to be able to not even go next door. They're opening a hole in the wall between the two businesses so that there's like just a door between them and they can just kind of step through. So yeah. And like you were saying, there was I can't remember exactly who Eric was talking to yesterday, but there was at some point that somebody was saying something and it's like, hey, this is our spot.
Oh,
it's all good. Like, yeah. We can do. Was it you?
Yes, I was talking to him about having an event there.
Yeah,
because
even for coaching, right?
Yes, we normally will set up from a previous event. We had the cold plunge, the infrared sauna, and then we had some meditation going on and some yoga, and so that had popped up, and I started sharing that with him because it will also give him exposure as well. And he's like, and he looks at me with these loving eyes and says, like, the spot is ours.
Yeah. Like we can use it or whatever.
Yeah. And I just looked at him and I'm like, thanks.
Yeah.
You know, he's that dude. Like, he is that dude. And it's great to have people like this in your life, right? Because when you open up a new business, there's going to be challenges.
Yeah.
And to know that, like, you're not in it alone, right? Like, you have people that are there to support you, help you, and that really want you to win.
Yeah.
And I see that with your guys's jiu-jitsu family, that everyone supports everyone. It just seems like, a tight family.
Yeah. Jiu-jitsu has this thing where, I mean, it like I was just saying, it is a combat sport, but it's kind of interesting because jiu-jitsu is a tough sport. And it's hard to freaking hang in there, like, class after class, year after year. At a certain point, it just becomes part of what you do. You may not enjoy getting beat up all the time, but it's like, this is part of my life. And the people become a part of your life, and you, like you said, you develop that community. And I think part of it is also because it's so hard, you see people come and go. And the people that stay, that you build a bond with over years, it's a different kind of bond because you guys have been like scrapping. Like, we've all been in shitty positions, like we've seen each other suffer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You guys smelled each other's balls.
Right? Yeah, there you go.
I remember, like, when I was, when I
smelled each other's balls. Nice.
You said,
That is
we
true.
watched a video like jiu-jitsu's gay. Like, right. It's a gay sport. Like,
Oh God. No, it's a self-defense that covers for like turning people gay or something like that. And it's like, actually, it's something that turns people gay that happens to be self-defense or something like that. It was freaking funny.
Yes. But I remember when I was practicing, right, when we first started going, and you are in everyone's space.
In their
right?
bubble.
Like, there is no, like, turning away. And it is a very humble experience.
Humbling, yeah.
Yeah. Because again, you have people in certain positions and it's just surrendering.
Yeah.
And being able to, because you have people in there that been there longer than you and have more experience, and it's being able to just, I don't know. It's very hard to.
It is
to express
surrendering.
too. But that's the word that came to me is surrender. It's surrender.
Yeah. Surrender, accept.
Yep.
But then you learn
That you don't know either, right? When there's other people, it doesn't matter how strong you are or what you do outside of jiu-jitsu. Like, this is it's a different ball game. And it is like being able to just say, hey, like, I'm going through some, like, if, I don't know, it's just hard. Yeah. I'm lost for words.
No, it is a special experience,
Yeah.
because you have to surrender, because there's times, and that's why it relates so much to life, because there's times where you have no choice but to surrender, because there's nothing that you can do. Whatever's happening to you is just gonna happen. And sometimes you're brand new and you are rolling with a black belt, and there is nothing that you are going to be able to do. And you have to be okay with surrendering.
Right.
And then eventually you start learning, and then you're getting put in a position where you feel like you're going to surrender. And then you start to learn, maybe I can fight. Mm-hmm. Maybe I can fight through this and I don't have to accept this. So there's all kinds of, lessons that you learn.
I can imagine, like, stepping in to jiu-jitsu and being new. And when you're full of pride and ego.
Oh,
right?
There's great videos online about that.
Yes. And I think jiu-jitsu, it will help you check that and go within. And those that are full of ego and pride will not last. Like, if they're not surrendering, they're not going to last. They're going to be the ones that step out and say, this is not for me. versus questioning, why am I having such a hard time like giving in? Why am I struggling? Why am I right? And a lot of times too, being in your head, I can't imagine, because when I stepped in, I am vulnerable anyways. I'm just like, okay, I am surrender. Like I am surrender. So it wasn't that difficult for me to get in there and to allow someone else to help me, to show me, to guide me. And you know who was really good at that was Rick. Like I liked rolling, not that I rolled with Rick, but when I was learning, he was very good at teaching and helping me through some of the things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. And Rick, what like we've been talking about, opened up his second school, and it's so awesome to see like the way the school looks. You know, it's like I don't know, it's probably like 3 or 4 times the size of his old school. Mm-hmm. The mats are all white, the walls are all white. Like it just looks clean. It looks like it just looks awesome.
Yeah.
And then Eric's spot next door looks great too. Yeah, it's really cool, and it was awesome to see everybody there. And make sure you guys check out Fighting for Your Life podcast, because we set up a mobile podcast over there, a live on location recording, shooting.
It came out great.
Whatever. Yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
Thanks, babe.
Right? Because that was the first time that you did something like that. We've recorded outside on our podcast.
Yeah.
But this is different because you had multiple individuals that were speaking.
Yeah. And thank you for helping me out and bringing people for me.
Of course.
Yeah. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit, you know, because I was talking to my little brother. Shout out to my little brother, George. And there, like I think we all kind of at different points in our life, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Like we feel lazy, like we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. Like we could be doing more or whatever. Mm-hmm. And for different people, like I talked about a couple weeks ago, that's different. Some people have a different level of get shit doneness or whatever you want to call that, right?
Yes.
And just be okay with whatever you do, but don't let it consume you. Like, don't let that shit just beat you up. Like, yeah, we could always be doing more. And you also, like, there's a balance with everything, because there's things that pop up. There's opportunities or, yeah, just things that come up in your life that sometimes it's like, hey, do you want to do this? And your first thought is like, that's going to take a little effort. Not really. You know, and even though it may be something that's good for you, something that's going to point you in a different or help you learn some shit or whatever, but it's like, I got my routine down. Thanks, but no thanks. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's kind of what came up for this podcast, because we have our studio set up, right? It took years to be able to get this to look a certain way, to have the light set up, mounted to the ceiling, to have the camera on a mount that just extends out and it's ready to go whenever you need it. We have wires running behind the couches. Everything is kind of like tied off. So it's kind of permanent.
Right.
And to take this and go do this somewhere else, mentally is already a pain in the ass.
Right.
Because I have to unhook shit. But I did do it in a way so that I could do that. Right. But it's just going to be another learning experience, more effort. And when Eric was opening up his business, he made the offer. He had a great idea. He wants to help out his friend. Why don't you guys, like, this is a jiu-jitsu school that we're opening. We're opening the recovery place. You have a fighting podcast. Wouldn't it be a great idea for you to come and shoot an episode right there with everybody there?
Right.
Yeah. That's a great idea. Do you know what I mean? What the fuck? What am I supposed to say? No?
Yes, right.
And the time starts clicking. And I'm like, fuck. You know?
Right.
So, but eventually it's like, I know this is a good thing.
Yeah.
I know this is a good opportunity. Yes, I'm going to have to figure some things out. And I did have to figure some things out. I ran into some issues out there and still made it happen. And it looks good. But if I didn't take that opportunity, I wouldn't have known what extra equipment do I need to buy. Turns out it was only a $30 piece that I needed to buy. If I didn't do it, I wouldn't have known how to work my camera better so that I could set it up outside in the sun, because I barely learned how to figure it out so that we could do this in here and make it look good. But shooting when there's more light and when things are changing is different. I had to learn something else. And it did stretch me. And now I was telling you yesterday that, damn, that was a lot easier. And I learned some things. The battery didn't work. I got to, send it back and get a new one so that I have, a power source there. But I wouldn't have learned it if I didn't just commit to it and go for it. And now I know that next time that I want to do something like this, it's not that hard. Right. It's really not. And now even coming back and having to transfer all the equipment back here, I have it set up in a way that that's not that hard either.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if it starts happening more often, I can pack a bag that has everything in it already. And then it just becomes a matter of taking the camera down, taking the mixer out, and grab the bag and go. But a lot of times we fight these things that are going to help us grow.
Right. I'm smiling because I'm going through that with this pop-up event.
Yeah.
And the woman and it's something that just came about. Like I was on Facebook and I saw that she was looking to come to Arizona and connect with, someone here. And I just felt called to do it. So I reached out to her and we started to get to know each other. And this is the first time that I am co-hosting an event, because my first retreat, I created it.
Yeah.
You
had people there, but this was your event.
Right. And I created it. This is something that we're creating together, and she's in Germany and I'm here and I'm looking for a spot, and we found a spot, but it's like, okay, well, to co-create an event, and she's very nonchalant about it, right? Like she's just like, well, this is how
go with the flow type.
Yes.
You guys are both go with the flow type.
And I'm just like, okay, well, right. So it's like, okay, well, now we got to do this.
It'll be okay.
That's it. She's like, it's all going to come together. It's all going to come together. This beautiful event. And I'm just like, okay.
Sounds like you guys need a project manager.
But she's done this stuff many times before.
Yeah.
Right? Like many times before. So I got the event. I got another coach now who's going to be there with us, and she's going to be doing breath work with us.
Yeah.
So I'm bringing it together, but it's still making me nervous because it's like, yeah, but I feel that there's more to this. And she's very like, no, it's all going to happen the way it's supposed to happen. So I connected with the girls that went to my retreat, and I said, this is going to be a mini retreat, a pop-up retreat. We're not staying at the Airbnb. It's going to be a day event. And they're like, okay, well, I'm interested. So now it's like, okay, well, I haven't even put this thing out, but I have people that are confirming that they want to be at the event. And so she's like, it's going to happen the way it's supposed to happen, and it's okay. But again, this is something new for me. And so I still have that little voice, and then I have to shut that little voice out and just continue to move forward. And this is something that we're creating.
Yeah.
And we're creating it together. And I have to continue to keep myself aligned in that space. Like, this is going to be exciting, and you guys are creating this thing together, and this is how it's going to look, and this is how it's going to happen, but not having like that direct
control over everything.
Exactly.
Yeah. You have to be okay with letting go of certain things. That's when you're co-creating something.
Right. And so we've been meeting every week through a Zoom.
That's awesome.
And I've just been doing it. Like, I've just been reaching out, making the calls, and putting it together. And now what came for me while we're talking is, let's get the flyer together. Because she hasn't mentioned anything about a flyer.
There you go.
Right? Like, she hasn't mentioned it. And we just met like a few months ago. Like 3 months ago.
Yeah, you guys randomly met on Facebook or something. And she's in Germany. Yeah.
And our event is January 20th.
Yep. So if you guys are in Arizona and you guys would like to attend, make sure you guys hit Sonja up. Get your phone number. You guys can also reach her at, what is it, Healing Hearts?
Yes.
What's your website?
Hold on.
What's your stuff? Healing Hearts Coaching at SonjaRamirez.com, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's your email?
And you can contact me at, I don't have my number memorized, obviously.
Here we go. I got it.
You got it?
I'll find it for you guys.
602-633-5658. That's not even a hard number to remember.
And the email is healinghearts at SonjaRamirez.com.
Yes.
Not Healing Hearts Coaching. It's just Healing Hearts at SonjaRamirez.com. If you guys want to go to that retreat, which is going to be January, do you have the date?
20th.
January 20th.
Mm-hmm.
And that is going to be, is it going to be in the Phoenix area?
It's going to be in Scottsdale.
In Scottsdale. Okay. So yeah, if you guys would like to attend that event, if you guys missed the last one, I mean, everybody that went to your last retreat, which this is going to be a little bit different, but it's still, you know, like you've been talking about, something that you're co-creating with your partner.
Right.
But you definitely, it's hard because every event is going to be different. I can imagine,
Right.
you know, just because of the people that are there, the things that you talk about, the events go in different directions depending on what's happening or whatever. So they're all different. So definitely make sure that you guys hit Sonja up to go to the event if you're interested.
And then the event that we're having in May, which is going to be at an Airbnb, probably located somewhere in North Phoenix, or not North Phoenix, but North Arizona, like somewhere out there. I don't know. I'm still looking. We haven't gotten a place yet, but that's going to be May 17th through the 19th.
Awesome. Yeah, and we'll keep
you guys posted on that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So awesome. And you know what? Talking about the coaching, this is something that, you know me, like I think of something and I want to tell you. Kind of like when you buy gifts. Like I want to tell you stuff and then I don't want it. Like it's hard, especially like on a Monday. If I think something and it's like, ooh, that's good for the podcast. And then I'm like, but I don't want to tell you until like the podcast. And then it's like all week I'm like, I want to fucking tell it. You know what I mean? So this is something that's been coming up and it has to do with your coaching, because I know recently you've been in your head a little bit about, I think, like contributing, right? And where the business is at. And we've talked about on this podcast, like the money that we had, it comes in cycles, right? For some people, maybe you're balling and we're super happy for you. For us, like we're still figuring shit out. And it's not like we're hungry or anything. We got money. We're okay. But it's not stacked as high as it was, as it once was, right? We're still debt free. We're gonna continue to be debt free. And Christmas is coming up, right? And it's like, well, what is Christmas? Like, really, what is it? It's like, you know, we don't have to, when we have it, we can spend it. If we don't, it's okay. And if you get mad at us because we didn't get you a fucking gift, it's all good. That just kind of lets us know what the deal is. You know what I mean? But you've been kind of beating yourself up about like the business, and maybe like you feel like you're not bringing in or contributing as much as you should or whatever. And I've always told you that it's not just about money, right? You contribute in other ways by being a mom, by keeping the house together. And you do bring in money.
And taking care of your needs.
And taking care of my needs. I think everybody knew what we were talking about. But you have, like, the business is just getting going. And you had a client that, you know, a paid client last year. And at the very end of the year, you got another paid client, right? Getting that paid client saved the day for Christmas. You know, because it was going to be like, well, shit, times are a little tight. So maybe we won't do all these things that we wanted to do. But your money came in right on time. And you were able to change things for Christmas for us. So as bad or however you feel, you came through. Right? So don't feel bad about, you came through with a business that's just getting going. Businesses don't make money right away. We're talking about our friend just opening up a business. How long is it going to be before he makes some money? It's probably going to be a little bit because our businesses are a little bit different. But don't beat yourself up about it. You know, you saved the day.
Yeah.
You should be proud of that. And ultimately, another thing that I wanted to talk about is that if it didn't come through, because we didn't put any pressure on your client. Like your client is getting started, you know, in the beginning of the year, and you guys had talked about the pricing and everything, and it was like, hey, you know, this is what it is. You know, you have to have your payment before we get started. But it wasn't like, hey, we need your payment right away or, you know, anything like that. Mm-hmm. But she wanted to commit to it too. And she wanted to get her stuff started. And that's just the way it worked out. But I also was thinking, I was like, well, what about if we didn't get that money? And we were just with what we had? Then Christmas, like, yeah, we'll pay our bills. We'll get a couple things here and there. We would still be okay. What is the difference? So it's like, yeah, you did your part, you contributed, but what is most important, like what we've been talking about, is each other. We still have each other. We have the people that we love. What else do we need?
Yeah. I see just other, and I've always been this way. Just being real. You know, they used to say, fake it till you make it. And I am not that, because then I'm not being true to me. And when it comes to coaching, like I've been coaching for quite some time. And giving back and serving on the level that now I'm serving at for free.
Yeah.
And I've done, gifting sessions where we've had some of my
your
clients have had major breakthroughs just within that amount of time.
That free
That's
session.
why I'm so excited to get the testimonials done, because even with the retreats, like the reason for the retreat is for those that maybe can't afford me now can have some experiences within themselves to see that or just to serve, to allow them to have those breakthroughs and that healing that I provide during my coaching.
Yeah.
And it's affordable, that they
it's a lot more affordable
right.
than signing up for 6 months of coaching.
But I see who I am, and I see the services that I provide. And I know my self-worth and what that is worth, the services that I provide. And there's times where I have to check myself because I'm giving so much. And when it comes to the fee, I question it.
Yeah.
Do you see her?
She found the pretzel.
Yeah.
But she can't eat it because we're talking about the dog. The dog's down on the, she found the pretzel, but she can't eat it because she's got no teeth. And now she can't see it because she's blind.
So, I know the services that I provide are worth the fee.
Yes.
I know that. I see that.
They're worth more than the fee. It's just that you're just getting started.
Right. But in my head, and that's something that you've been a great reminder for me, helping me to see the things that I've been able to accomplish. And it took me getting out of my head and really just listening and being open to receive and to see that. And to know, I looked to see when I opened my LLC, and it's only been a year.
Right.
And giving myself grace.
You went to India last year. You haven't even been back from India a year. Like the coaching didn't even really start.
Right.
Until after you came back from India. And it hasn't even been a year. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe one of the things that I do well, I don't know, is maybe like I see things pretty clear. Like just for how they are, you know? And I think a lot of times it is just a shift in perspective. You know, we've been talking about, you know, the shirt that you're wearing, the hat that I'm wearing from Rejuve Gen. And earlier in the week, you know, you've been talking about the community and everything. And I went, I think it was Friday, I went to Eric's to go help him, you know, just wrap up things, clean stuff up, and, you know, just do whatever I can to help my friend out to get his business going. And I really wish I could have been there more, but, you know, it's like we're busy doing stuff. And I went the couple days that I could. But on the way there, it's been beautiful out here. Like the sun, like the weather in Arizona right now with global warming and everything melting, the polar ice caps, is making things so beautiful down here. The world ending has made Arizona so great. You guys should come. But no, like the weather, it's like fucking 75. It's sunny. I'm driving. They're about like 25 minutes away from here. I jump on the highway. I'm probably going about 70, 75. I have the sunroof open. The windows are down. I'm cranking the music. I have my sunglasses on. And I'm like, this is pretty fucking good right now. You know, like life is good. And I'm bobbing my head, singing to the music. And all of a sudden on my left, a Lamborghini just goes by. And I was like, holy shit. Like, it wasn't, not that a Lamborghini is like any Lamborghini is like a regular Lamborghini. That was not a regular Lamborghini. It was different than most Lamborghinis. Mm-hmm. And it goes by and I was like, holy shit. I was like, that is fucking cool. And I keep listening to my music. And in that moment, I was like, what does that person have that I don't have? Besides a Lamborghini. But I was like, fucking nothing. How can I be happier than I am right now? In my 2006 Toyota Avalon with 200,000 miles, with the sunroof open, with the wind fucking hitting me, listening to good music. I don't need to be in a Lamborghini. Yes, it's nice, but I don't think that I could be happier.
And it's funny that you say that, because this is how you can create a story and be on two different pages, not even knowing, because here Miguel is in that state of mind, right? Like he's seeing life. And I know, and I've said this, that I've told you, like, we've already won.
Yeah.
We've already won. And it's funny because you said one time, you were listening to, I don't remember who, and you said that he said that he would love to live the life that his wife and his children live.
That was Adam Carolla in his podcast, yeah.
And you said that and you planted that seed within me.
I just told you what he said. It was a joke.
When you started this new position, I saw the stress within you.
Yeah.
I felt the stress that you were feeling.
New position 4 years ago.
Which created me wanting
to get me out
to
of there.
create that for you.
Right.
And you've heard me say it before, and you've even said it before. The plan was for me
and maybe not
to retire you. Right? And this has been a while. We haven't gotten back to that. Hold on.
Then maybe we need to revisit it.
Hold on. And so I am sitting in that space.
Okay. Yeah.
And I want to do that so that we can live the life of freedom. You not being attached to anything, where you and I can travel the world and do our thing. Like when we become empty nesters. So that has been sitting and festering within me, which makes me feel I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
And that's where all of that came from. But somehow you have shifted. And you shifted very fast.
Yeah.
To where I didn't even recognize it until you and I started talking.
No,
and I'm
I think it's been a misunderstanding. No, it was a mistake on my part. It really is. We should have probably talked about this. This should have came up a long time ago. Because it is a mistake on my part. It was never you retire me. It was us retire us. It's not you do your thing, I'm going to do my thing, and then when your thing outgrows my thing, then we'll just do your thing. That's not how it works. It's we do stuff together. Because even your coaching business is not by yourself. Even my podcast yesterday, I was talking about it, like you're running around grabbing people for me. You know, like we have to support each other in the things that we do. It's not you retire me. So you shouldn't feel that. And I'm sorry for doing that to you. I'm sorry for putting that pressure on you, for you feeling like you have to retire me. No. We do things together. Yes, it would be nice for us to like just do the things that we want to do together, but it's not like, don't feel the pressure of you having to get me to stop working. Like, no, that's not the dream. The dream is just to be together, and do what we want to do. Yeah, I guess part of it is that, but it's not, it doesn't come from just you. We are a team. All of us, including the kids, our family, everybody.
But that is something that the shift, like I saw the shift and I'm like, when did he?
You guys all have to retire me collectively.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like when did he? Because when I started seeing that, it's crazy how you condition how things can become. Like it's that story that you create and you're living by, and the story is not even the story anymore. And having to recondition.
Well, I think part of it too is because at that time, like this is something that we've said, or that I said, that we talked about. Like this was way back in the beginning of our relationship. Like when we were like,
I mean, this was Legal Shield.
Exactly.
And that's why, like, I've felt this, you're not doing enough. Yeah. And then I go from Legal Shield to Trust Inc. And Trust Inc. the second year, 90,000. And then things shifted, and then my passion. And now I'm starting something new. And it's like,
I think the reason that it came out that way, or that it was said that way 15 years ago, is because back then, like, we were going through a lot of stuff, right? With the kids, with court, with all kinds of issues that we were dealing with, that we were working through. I had just started working again. Like, I wasn't making a lot of money, but I was just kind of getting back into aviation and all that kind of stuff. You were working Legal Shield, dealing with kid stuff. And it was like, we knew that what I was doing which was having a job making $17 an hour or $15 an hour, whatever it was at that time, that was not gonna change everything for us. Working an hourly job is not gonna change everything for us. The only way was gonna be by building a business, by working for ourselves, because we already understood certain things about business and life and careers and all that kind of stuff. So it was like, what I'm doing is not going to retire us. What you're doing is what's going to retire us. So whatever what it should have been is not, I'm going to work until you retire me. What it is I'm going to work because that's what's going to keep us afloat. And yeah, maybe your focus can be a little bit more business or whatever and help, growing businesses and stuff. But the goal is I work until we build the side businesses, the side hustles enough till they become the primary thing. And that's what we do. But it should have never, and it was never like I'm doing this, you're doing that. And then,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sorry you felt that way. Cause that's a lot. That's a lot of pressure. Yeah. No, that's too much. We do things together and my job's not the way it was,
And I see that now. And it's something that just came up while I'm sitting here and questioning, right? Because that's how things unfold. When you start to question why you're feeling this way and that's, I'm like, where is this, pressure coming from? Where is this anxiety coming from?
Yeah.
And it came from that thing that was said a while back.
Yeah. Damn, that thing stuck.
And striving for that. But that's the thing. That's why they say, to be careful about what you say. Imagine the things that we say to our kids.
Yes.
And things that are planted. And we don't recognize how it's affecting them.
Or be careful how you allow things that other people say to affect you.
Exactly. It's
both.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
And you can say something and not even recognize what you just said or what you just planted, and it's like, oh, yeah.
And that is a great, yeah. Like, just to be careful what people tell you, how you take it in, and how you say things to other people. Because if you would have thought, maybe I heard what he said, but maybe he didn't mean it like that. Then, like, from all the way back then, it was like, or it maybe would have made you ask more questions. Like, what do you mean? Work until I can retire you, And then it would, not work until you retire me. And then it would have turned into something else. But we just kind of left it at that, and you just kind of accepted that that's what I said. When it's like, did he really mean it that way? Is that what instead of just allowing that pressure just to build up on you? Because we can mistakenly, like, in this sense, I mistakenly said something wrong. And you interpreted it exactly how I said it. Now, yeah, and I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. But there was there's something that I always kind of think about, like, about mistakes and stuff like this, because that's pretty much what this was. Is I always kind of assume that I made a mistake. I've told you about this before. Like, whenever something comes up, like something's off that I had something to do with, like, I can't figure something out. A lot of times it's stuff with the computer. Like, I'm like, why the fuck isn't this doing what I wanted to do? Click, 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 motherfucker, click, click, click. And it's like, oh yeah, I clicked something over here that is now affecting this over here. And then I unclick this. Oh shit, it's working again. I fucked it up. Or something's going on. Oh yeah, I changed the settings. Or it's usually something that I didn't do, something I forgot to do, something I did wrong. But a lot of times it's not the other thing. It's not the system. It's not whatever it is that's fucked up. It was something that I did. And there's a lot of times when, kind of like we're talking about now, like I assume that I was wrong. Or like I kind of think, I was like, am I wrong about this? And there was something that, it's something that's very important too, because people don't realize like how wrong we are, like all the fucking time. Human error. In aviation, which, you know, something that I've done for over 20 years now, you learn that when there's a plane crash or an aircraft crashes, over 90% of the time, I'm pretty sure, it's a pilot error. It's not that the machine failed, the engine failed and the jet crashed, or something happened, and then it's usually the pilot misinterpreted the instruments. Like something happened, there was a human miscalculation, and then the aircraft crashed. They shouldn't have been flying in that weather. They shouldn't have, you know, and it was a judgment call. But I think a lot of times we want to like, we assume that we're just right, you know? And I think it's a good thing to like question yourself, you know? That I've learned so much just from like assuming that I'm wrong. You know, it's like, oh, I wonder about that. And then you find out, oh shit, there's way more to this. Or I didn't know that, you know? And that applies to all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. We got to teach that to the kids, or talk to the kids about that. Helping them to become aware, questioning, and taking responsibility.
Yeah.
You know, especially like with Joey. We've caught Joey several times saying, oh, it was Audrey. Or,
yeah,
I did this because she did that.
Yeah.
Or Instead you said this.
Just taking a moment to question. Oh, yeah, I'm fucked up. I fucked up. You know? And a lot of times you'll find out. He's like, oh, yeah, I fucked up.
Because if we help them.
And find ways to take responsibility.
Right.
Always.
Yeah. And I get it's not just leading by example. It's also bringing it to their awareness. Because a lot of times you and I, when we do something wrong, and it has to do with the kids or even each other, we're okay with apologizing. Like, we're okay with apologizing to the children. Like, you know what? I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that, or I shouldn't have done that. Whatever it is, leading by example.
I'll give you an example.
Right
now. That happened last week. Sorry.
No, and I was just going to say, leading by example is great to do, but it's also bringing that awareness to them.
Yeah.
Like talking about it.
Yeah.
So that they can connect the dots.
Yeah, and so that they can understand like how to work things out, how things happen. Mm-hmm. You know, earlier in the week, Joey was supposed to take the trash out, and he forgot last week, so the trash like piled up, and the trash was full. The day comes around, I text you, and I'm like, hey, make sure Joey gets the trash out. And it's one of those things that as a parent, I saw it. And I'm like, I should just fucking pull it out. That way we don't have this fucking problem. But it's like, he needs to fucking pull it out. So I go to work. You tell him, hey, don't forget, the trash needs to go out. It's not his priority. So he just goes to school. Now we have an overflowing thing of trash that we have to hold on to for another week. Now we have bags of trash that we're putting on the floor or on the ground and stashing them because we have to get this thing emptied out. And when I got home, I was pissed. I'm like, dude, I fucking told you earlier in the week that this shit could not happen. We need to get this shit out so that we can get the rest of our stuff in there. What happened? I called your mom and made sure that she reminded you. Did she tell you? Yeah. I'm fucking, like, there is no excuse for this shit. I don't care about your excuses. You're grounded for a week until the fucking trash goes out. You know? And I was pissed. And he was like, I understand, Dad. Which is fucking It's tough being a parent. You know, because I want to be fucking mad.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Dad. I could understand if you want to beat my head in, you know?
I would be upset too, he said.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, I would be upset too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he starts talking. It's okay, Dad. I would be upset if I was my son. You know, like, I'm like, all right, dude, take it easy. But so afterward,
after Miguel calmed down.
Yeah, this is so that this happened on Thursday, and that Thursday I'm like, I don't give a shit what you're doing. You're not going out with your friends. I don't. You're not allowed in your bedroom because you have all your shit in your bedroom. Mm-hmm. There is nothing in the living room. You're not allowed to touch the TV. You can grab a book. You can grab your Rubik's Cube, or no, I didn't even say Rubik's Cubes because he's into that shit. I was like, you can grab your books and your saxophone if you want to play music. The only thing you're allowed to do is read and play music and sit in the couch. And that's all you're going to fucking do till Thursday for a whole week. Mm-hmm. And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, damn, that's pretty rough for not taking out the trash. Like, yeah, the trash is overflowing, but he didn't fucking like punch somebody in the head.
Yeah.
It's just trash and it'll go out. Mm-hmm. So then I let it be for a while. And then I'm thinking about it. And then I talked to you about it. And I'm like, what do you think? I was like, because I'm kind of feeling like this was a little too much, you know? And then later on that night, we sit down to have dinner. And we just talked about it at the table, all of us.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, dude, this can't happen. You need to, like, he knows, his teacher tells him in school, in the real world, nobody gives a shit about your excuses. And I told him I was like, everything that I was telling you downstairs about nobody giving a shit about your excuses, about like all, I was like, that is all accurate. Yes, I was pissed off and maybe I was a little bit more animated than normal. That was all accurate. But where I did make a mistake was grounding you for a week. You know, I was like, that's a little bit extreme for not taking out the trash. And I told him, I was like, your mom and I are going to think of the consequences, and there will be consequences for not taking the trash out. But don't worry about being grounded. We'll just, everything is back to normal. We will let you know what happens. And we decided that he's going to clean out the garage. Just like there's all kinds of leaves and stuff in there. So he's going to organize it. He's going to sweep it all out. And that'll be his consequence. And today he wanted to go out and play. And I told him, I was like, hey, we talked about it. That's what it's going to be. He's like, okay. He's like, that's fair. He's like, thanks, Dad. You know? And I was like, all right. And I gave him a hug and a kiss and he went out to play.
Yeah.
You know, but I think it's important, you know, like he's seeing how you adjust, how you correct when you go off course, you know?
Yeah.
And that just because you made a mistake doesn't mean you have to fucking like stick with that forever.
Right. Yeah. It's constant growth, right? It's constant growth.
You know, that is something that we need to realize, like that people make mistakes. People change their minds. And also in life, people change. This just kind of popped into my head. Look at Mike Tyson. That motherfucker's like completely different today than he was before.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. Before, you could probably say he was a bad person. Mm-hmm. Like he wanted to fucking hurt people. Like enjoyed hurting people. Wanted to rip their fucking heads off.
Right.
And he still has that in there somewhere. But he's not that same guy. And people change. And then when you think about like politics and stuff, how like they'll bring up so-and-so said something fucking 9 years ago. She supported this and he supported that. And it's like, well, maybe they were thinking fucked up back then.
Yeah. Like
they're not allowed to change their mind ever. I hope they would fucking change their mind eventually about some things.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's just how so-and-so is. For the rest of their life?
No.
People can change.
Yes. I mean, look at us. That's why I'm laughing. I'm thinking of us when we first got together.
Right.
And the growth that has happened just within us.
Yeah. Yeah. We've changed a lot.
Like, you are totally different.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean when I said, and I still say, love conquers all. It really does. When you think about, let's use your own example on you.
Oh, geez. Now you're going to use my, here we go.
The way Joey responded to making that mistake. I'm sorry, Dad.
Yeah.
I would be upset too. I understand how you feel. He just poured water on your love.
On my fire.
Yeah, love. And that's what I did with you. Like, that was it. And that's why I say love conquers all, because how can you remain upset or being an asshole when someone is like, you know what, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Dude, there's this, you know how like I'll just remember certain things, just random ass shit. I remember you brought it up earlier, Adam Carolla. I was listening to this Adam Carolla podcast, and he had this other comedian on there named Jay Moore. And he was talking about raising his kids, and he was saying that all he wants is for his kids to be Canadian.
What?
He's like, he wants to raise kids that are Canadian. Like, if you think of somebody that's Canadian, you would never think of like somebody that's just fucking off the wall. Like, they're just like, nice. Hey, how's it going, eh? And, you know, like, shit. He's like, I just want to raise them that way. Mm-hmm. And I mean, like, when you look at Joey and how he was before and how I would have responded, like, I had a temper and I would get mad. And I wasn't like yelling at him the other day when I was talking to him about this stuff. I was a little bit more stern, and I'm very direct when I'm like that. But it wasn't like anger coming out.
Right.
Before, he would have been grounded, and he might have got fucking pissed and stormed off.
Right.
Because he had a temper.
Right.
Right? But as things have changed, he's like, I understand how you feel. Yeah, I did fuck that up. You know?
Yeah.
What can we do so that I don't do that again? I'm like, don't be using my fucking tricks against me, boy. You know?
But he was sincere, right?
But it's an example of
sincere.
It rubbing off, you know?
Right.
Like of shit actually working.
Exactly. So when you change, everything changes.
Yeah. So change yourself first.
That's it. That's where it starts. That's where it starts. And how do you change the world? It all starts within the home. Yep. It all starts within the home. I don't remember I was talking about somebody or to someone about this recently. Oh, Kyle.
Oh, yeah. One of our jiu-jitsu friends.
Yeah. We got into a deep conversation over there. While you were interviewing people, I had him. I'm like, hey, would you like to go next? He's like, oh, no, I'm good.
He's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah. And then we got into that conversation. You know, because when you see where the world is at today, and you're paying attention and you're watching the news and who knows what is real.
Yeah.
Right? But when you consume all of the negativity and everything that's happening within the world, it can really weigh on your soul. It can really weigh on your spirit. And that's why I tell you, like, I can be aware and know what's happening, but I can't be in that constant.
Yeah.
I can't watch the news every day. I can't be in the knowing of what's happening every day, all day.
Yeah.
Because it affects me. And we found that in common.
Yeah.
That's how Kyle feels as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? And he used to feel as I felt that what can we do to help the world? And putting that pressure on yourself can really drain you.
It can.
So it's like, okay, well, how can we? And it's like by working on you Yep. Working on you and leading by example. When I talk about being the light in the darkness, that's what I mean. And we talked about, it's funny because we haven't got into talking about, that one time when we were grocery shopping and we came out and that older, that
the lady was
the
like
lady
lost.
couldn't, she didn't know where her car was. And it starts there. It starts there. It starts in the home.
Being a good human.
That's it. Yeah. And it all starts there. And then just taking it out in the world is giving back, helping when you can, serving when you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if there's enough of us doing that, that's how you help the world.
Yep.
It's like locking arms. This is what I visualize, like us locking arms and being that no matter where we go.
Yeah.
Whether it's the grocery store or whether it's at your child's school or the neighbor next door.
Yeah, and the thing is that you don't realize, I think, because Kyle, like you were saying, he's a great example of that. And when you get to know him, like I don't even know him that well. Mm-hmm. Like, I know him a little bit. Like we talk, we've rolled, and it was kind of cool. We talked about on the podcast, like how you get to know somebody without talking by rolling with them. How you get to know a person's personality, and we've got to know each other a little bit that way. We've talked, he coaches kids classes more than I do because he's actually one of the head coaches for the kids class, and I'll help out whenever I go. So we've coached together. But like you said, he's like a more reserved person.
Yes.
He's not probably somebody that'll just jump on a podcast. He might if he feels inclined to do that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But he's probably not going to start a podcast.
Right.
And he is also a more reserved, quieter person until you get to know him a little more. He may not always be like dropping knowledge and lessons,
but he's very knowledgeable.
Yes, he is. But it comes through just by who he is, because he carries himself in that way. Mm-hmm. Like, and when you see him train and when you can just tell that he is a squared away person. Mm-hmm. Like whatever he does to the best of his ability. Mm-hmm. And by just being that,
right,
and being that around others, it's like, yeah, there's levels to this shit. And you work towards, you see things that you admire in other people, and there's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, he's good at this. That's something that I admire about him,
Right.
And use that.
Yeah. Yeah. You get that with certain people. Like
and what I wanted to say is like it's also different because he does it that way. He doesn't do it all by talking. And I guess I was that way in a way too. Because when I played football, I wasn't somebody that was going to give you a fucking speech in the huddle. I was just going to crack somebody's fucking skull on the field. Mm-hmm. Or I was going to make sure that I made that tackle. Like I was a sure tackler and I was always like ready. Mm-hmm. I didn't have to like talk to lead, And some people, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some people have that gift and they do that. Mm-hmm. People do it in different ways, Yeah.
I noticed lately, like it's knowing, like I have to, like feeling like I have to post because of the type of work I do and the type of work that we do together. Right.
Yeah.
And lately I haven't had that calling to post. So I've been a little quiet. I'll put a picture up with very little words until.
So your posts look like my post.
The other day. Right. Because I feel like it's a time of stillness, a time of just silence.
Mine could be like super beautiful stuff. I'd be like, saw some cool shit.
Yeah.
Here you go.
But that's how it's been until I went back. Like I went to the gym and I took a picture of myself and just talking about like the struggle of being consistent.
Yeah.
Right? The struggle of being consistent. And though we've taken some of this time off, Like I haven't been overeating. I've been listening to my body where, okay, I'm done.
I have been.
Right?
Yeah.
You what?
I have been.
You have been what?
Overeating.
Yeah, and I don't
if
help you.
If you guys watch the podcast, you guys could see a little extra jelly rolls on the side now.
You still look good though.
Thanks, babe.
Anyway, but talking about that,
and
like
Sonja's
listening,
white t-shirt. She's got to watch. Sorry.
So I had put that post up because I felt called to do that. But lately I've been more reserved with my posting and stuff like that. But anyways, on that post, I was talking about being consistent, like continuing to do the thing that got you to where you are. And that's something that you are pretty consistent when it comes to being consistent. No. This podcast has been consistent.
It has been.
Because of you.
Yeah.
Because I am so into my emotions at times that
we're not doing a show today. You know,
I'm just not feeling it. I don't feel called to do it. And that is something that I am working on. Continue to doing the thing until it just becomes part of who I am and not allowing my emotions to get in the way of the things that I need to continue to do. Like that's been such a freaking struggle.
Yeah, it's weird. And maybe we can get into this on a different episode, but it's like emotions are important. And you want to listen to those emotions.
Right.
But are those emotions always right?
And yes. And so that's my challenge. So with that, I'm like, okay, let's get into the gym and let's just do some stretching and then let's do some more, let's do some strength training. And boy, I did some strength training, but I did more resistance strength training than anything.
Yeah.
But I always take myself, push myself. I'm so good at that. Being consistent in the gym and just like working out and doing that. Like that's almost like my ground. Like that is my foundation to being consistent, because as long as I'm being consistent in the gym, I'm being consistent in everything else in my life. You notice that?
Yeah.
Like once I got back into the gym, I started making the calls. I started doing the thing that I needed to do. It's knowing thyself and knowing what's your foundation to being consistent. And that's been that for me. And even when I was in pain, like I'm getting better. I feel better today, but I was in pain. I decided, okay, I'm going to go into the gym and I'm still going to stretch for at least 30 minutes and go into the sauna and continue that self-love journey instead of going in and being like, okay, bitch, you're sore. Okay, but that doesn't matter. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do, before I would do that.
Yeah.
Like we're going to pump iron. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Now it's like, okay, listening to the body, even though I'm hurting, I'm going to do this versus doing that to help my recovery. Yeah. But it's becoming aware of that and making the changes that I need to make in order to continue to be consistent, because most people don't show up at the gym because they're hurting.
Right. I think it's like everything. You need a balance of all of it.
And that's what I talked about.
The other day I was at work and I was walking backwards on the treadmill, and there's another machine that I usually use, which is the stairs. Mm-hmm. And there was another girl that sometimes uses the stairs, or one time she was using the stairs when I was going to use the stairs. I was like, all right, go. I'll do something else today. So I went. But this other day I was walking backwards on the treadmill because of my old knees, and she was on the stairs and she was like, oh, were you going to get on it? Kind of like, she was wondering. Not because she was going to get off, just letting me know that I was not going to be getting on, because she had another like 20, 30 minutes to go. Yeah. But like we started talking and she was like, oh, you do the backwards walking thing. And we got into a little bit of that. And then the conversation went towards like endurance and how she doesn't push hard, but she feels like she can just keep going. And I was like, I'm very similar. Like, I don't feel like I push myself very hard, but if it's something that I have to just keep putting one foot in front of the other or being consistent and just doing it over and over and over and over and over, I feel like I can outlast a lot of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like our show, Opposites attract. People are different. You need a balance of a little bit more, because just like you don't have, you don't have the consistency thing as much as I do, but you have the fucking push yourself thing way more than I do. And I need more of that. And you need more of the consistency thing.
Right.
You know, and between the both of it, because like I'll do 100 pull-ups every fucking day. If I set my mind to it, I will do 100 pull-ups every day.
Right.
But I may not do them all in 20 minutes because that hurts. So maybe I'll do them in 35 minutes. You know what I mean? So that's the push that you have. And I could use more of that, because I don't always feel sore the way you feel sore.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So I think between all of us, like, we just need a little bit of what everybody else has.
Right. And knowing yourself. You have to know yourself.
Right.
You have to know
and
what's going to help you.
And don't feel bad that you're not as consistent. Just know that you got to work on that a little bit more.
Right. That's
because
what the awareness.
Because your gift is not that. Your gift is fucking going, like, pushing hard.
Right. Right.
And for me, don't feel bad that you don't fucking throw up all the weights all the time, because that's not my shit.
Right.
My shit is that if we were to do something for fucking ever,
right,
I'm going to get there.
And if you change that up, you're not going to be consistent, because you're doing the thing that you're really not into. You know what I'm saying?
True.
Like, if man, it's just you just got to figure out you. That's the bottom line, is really figuring out you. What makes
message.
you, what drives you, what makes you you. And when you find that out, your life will become more joyful.
Yeah, I agree.
You will find you. And most of us don't know who we are, because we don't take that time to figure that out.
Yeah.
So we continue doing the same shit that's not for us, because we don't really know what makes us.
Feeling bad. Yep. So, yeah. That is true. And with that, thank you guys for being with us. Thanks for following the show. Make sure you guys go to our website. Like I said before, the best thing that you guys could do is share this with somebody else. Share a clip with somebody. Subscribe, like, comment. Give us a call, 480-331-9846. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know if you like the show, your favorite moment. Send us a question that we can answer on the show. You can be anonymous. You can leave us your name if you want. And yeah, we'll play it on the show, and we'll answer it on the next episode.
Yes. So thank you guys for your love, and thank you for your support, and thank you for watching Opposites Attract podcast.
Where we get better
together.
Bye.
Bye.